details on the mass shooting in the heart of New York City that left 4 people dead, including an NYPD officer. The gunman was caught on surveillance images walking into an office tower, carrying, as you can see in that video, an M4 assault-style rifle. Police say he immediately opened fire inside the lobby and then moved to the elevator bank, went up to the 33rd floor, where he continued firing before ultimately taking his own life. This is the deadliest mass shooting in New York City in 25 years. Investigators have identified the gunman as 27-year-old Shane Tamura of Las Vegas. They've tracked his movements over the last few days as he drove from Nevada to Manhattan, parking just outside, double parking really just outside that building. Inside the building, the NFL's corporate offices, along with a number of other businesses. And a source does tell CNN the gunman had a suicide note in his pocket, which expressed some grievances with the NFL, also claiming to suffer from CTE and asking for his brain to be studied. Police, however, has stressed that at this point, any motive is still under investigation. As for the officer who was killed, he has been identified as 36-year-old Diderul Islam, a 3.5-year veteran of the department. He leaves behind a pregnant wife and 2 sons. Overnight, officials lining the streets outside a Manhattan hospital as his body was transferred. New York City's Mayor Eric Adams has ordered all flags on city buildings be flown at half-staff in tribute to the slain officer. Here's what he had to say last night.
He was saving lives. He was protecting New Yorkers. He's an immigrant from Bangladesh, and he loved this city, and everyone we spoke with stated he was a person of faith.
CNN's Omar Jimenez is at the shooting scene for us this morning. Omar, what did we learn overnight?
Yeah, so we learned a few details overnight, but I want to start with what I'm seeing this morning, because obviously we're heading into a new rush hour, the first morning since this happened during evening rush hour last night. And as you mentioned, flags at half staff. We are seeing that outside the building here. We also walked up to the entrance, or got as close to it as we could. Police are out front, barricades, as you can imagine, guarding the entrance and sort of the block perimeter around it. But you can actually see the glass cracked, sort of the introductory glass panes, window panes as you walk in, cracked with what appear to be impact points on one of the window panes, but also on the lower portion of a revolving door as well. Remnants of what happened here in what unfolded in just a few minutes as this gunman walked in, started opening fire on the lobby, killing 3 people in the lobby, including a New York police officer, before heading up to the 33rd floor and killing a 4th person. That police officer killed 36-year-old Diderul Islam, an immigrant from Bangladesh, father of 2, expecting a 3rd. But we also just got in a statement that one of the other people killed was an employee for Blackstone. This building holds a number of different companies. Blackstone included the NFL as well. But this statement saying, "We are heartbroken to share that our colleague Wesley LePatner was among those who lost their lives." So we're continuing to learn more about the victims in this as well. And all of this as police are trying to push forward to some sort of motive to figure out what may have driven this person to do this. We're appearing to get a few clues. A source with knowledge of the investigation says that this person had a suicide note that talked about CTE, the traumatic brain injury that is typically brought on from playing high-impact sports like football. And this place, this office, does house the NFL, and we do understand from the NFL an employee was shot here. But that's just one piece of what is going to be a larger investigation, again, to zero in on a specific motive here. This shooter lived in Las Vegas prior to carrying this out, before driving across the country to this block where I'm standing and walking into that building and doing what they did. But bottom line, as security is beefed up at this building over the next weeks and potentially months, families will be mourning those lost in just a matter of minutes.
Absolutely. Omar, appreciate it. Thank you. John?
All right, with us now, John Miller, CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst. And John, you were doing real-time reporting on this throughout the evening, late into the night. I'm sure you didn't get much sleep, but what's the very latest you're learning now?
Well, we're learning bit by bit what his targeting was and how he ended up where he ended up. So as Omar told us, we see from that picture, he's walking up with an M4 rifle into the lobby, and then he opens fire. But he wants to get to the elevators. And this is one of those moments where he sees an elevator open, He walks into the elevator. A woman has heard the shots and sees the man with the rifle walking in. She walks off the elevator, which undoubtedly saved her life. He doesn't attempt to shoot her, but he takes the elevator to where it's going. It's one of those buildings like this one where you get in the elevator and the elevator is already programmed to your destination. He doesn't know what his destination is. His target, we believe, is the NFL. He has written this note about CTE. He's talked about how it's the NFL's fault. The NFL is on the 5th floor. We don't know this. He may have believed that that was the NFL building, very much like so many of the floors are occupied by Blackstone. He may have thought, whatever floor I get out on, it may be the NFL. But the door opened, and he walked off into the 33rd floor, which is the headquarters of Rudin Management, the company that runs that building and so many other buildings in Manhattan, and shot apparently the first person he encountered, a woman who was a long-time and cherished employee of the Rudins. So that gives us a little bit of a window into a lot of the questions that were coming up yesterday, which was, what was his target? Why did he end up there? Was that his target, or was that happenstance? And some of those questions we'll never know because we obviously can't talk to him, but it's coming together.
A somewhat haphazard route from Las Vegas by car all the way, and we were on together last night when you reported the information about the car that they found. It's because he double parked on Park Avenue outside the building, which in and of itself is highly unusual and erratic. But to double park there and just walk casually across that plaza with the assault weapon,
it tells us a few things. It at least suggests a few things strongly, which is, he never stopped driving. Once we have him crossing through New Jersey, by way of Nebraska, Colorado, driving straight across the country. He crosses New Jersey at 434. License plate readers have him entering New York shortly thereafter. He double parks that car. Now, you can double park on Park Avenue and get towed away in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But he knows, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back to this BMW. And I would suggest, based on the past cases we've seen, which are too many, that he wasn't coming back anywhere. I think the reason he did nothing to conceal that rifle was he knew, I'm walking in, I'm opening fire when I get there, I'm going to get as close to my target as I can, and I'm going to keep shooting. And when it's over, I'm going to take my own life, which is what he did.
Obviously, those are the questions being investigated right now. I expect we will learn more in the coming hours, largely because of your reporting on this. John Miller, thank you very much. Erica?
Joining me now is Chris Swecker, former FBI Assistant Director for the Criminal Investigative Division. Chris, good to have you with us this morning. Let's walk through what we know in this moment. There's been a lot of focus on the video that we have of the shooter as he walks into the building, and I'm going to play that if we can, because he's so calm, and I've also heard someone else describe it as almost purposeful. What do you see in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, he walked into probably the city with the most wired video network in our country, and proceeded to walk. I've been in that building. I served on a Blackstone-owned company after I retired from the FBI and went to board meetings there. There's a big courtyard, and you see him walking through that courtyard. It's 6:30 or sometime after 6 o'clock. Not as much traffic, foot traffic, as you would normally see. And you can tell he's holding the M4 at his side, so he's making some effort to conceal the weapon. But it looks like to me, like, again, he is purposeful. He's going to engage anyone who tries to stop him from getting into that building. And of course, nobody did, because people don't walk around armed in New York City, and there's no police officer outside the building. So he gets inside and quickly ambushes the first threat that he sees, which is an off-duty NYPD police officer who's in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, it's hard to get your rational mind around this. This guy drives 30 some odd hours across country over the course of 2.5 days, jumps out of the car, gets right to it, and goes into a suicide mission. It's just really hard to fathom that.
Chris, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.